The leaks for chapter 339 have just come out, and it's super crazy. In this video, we see the players going to the locker room and arguing a bit before Ego comes in and shuts them all down and announces their new strat, which is the double jokers, SHIDOU and BAROU of course, but also one more mystery player, which you will have to wait to find out. But that's far from everything, and the rest I will keep a secret. So not to waste any time, let's get right into it. Alright, so the chapter starts off with the text saying, U20 World Cup Match 3, Japan vs France. First half over. Under that, we have more text saying Japan has felt the true strength of the U20 World Cup title favorites. To determine their tactics for the second half, they exchange opinions, and then we see all of them being pretty exhausted and tired in the changing room. After that, we start off with Aiku, who says that France sure are tough, saying that they are ranked 1 number in the world for a reason, and that Hugo sure is insane. We then move over to Bachira, who can be seen drinking from his water bottle, and he says that it's still only a 1-point difference, right? Telling them all that if they make adjustments in the second half, they can still do this. Rio then looks right at him and is confused by what Bachira meant by adjustments and asks him how exactly they are going to do that. It then actually looks like some translations has been lost, but Bachira says that they built this team centered around Isagi, asking if that isn't right. Rio tells him that he has already told him that the centered Isagi strategy has fallen apart. Bachira, who is just the GOAT, refuses to accept it and says that there is no way, arguing and telling Rio that it can still work. But Rio is firmly standing his ground, as well as he tells Bachira that if they stay like this, then they are just going to get crushed, and then it will all be over. While the two of them are arguing back and forth, and we actually see a small panel of Isagi just sitting thinking to himself and being silent. After that, we get to Karasu, who decides to speak up, and he tells them all to just calm down. He explains that just like Hiyori's goal, they can still invent a new pattern, saying that he will take over as this team's second best in Isagi's place, and that they should go with that for the second half. And look, I like Karasu, but I feel like he is overstepping just a bit right here. Saying that he will take over Isagi's place is kind of wild. Like, fine, you did evolve recently, and did assist the only goal that they have currently, but don't talk about my GOAT Isagi like that. And I know that Ego is my literal GOAT, because he says the same thing as he comes into the room and tells Karasu to be silent. And he asks Karasu straight up if he's trying to kill Blue Lock. Anyway, Karasu is rightfully super confused and caught off guard by that. Meanwhile, Ego just looks to stare into his soul. Ego then continues, and he says that France is a country that has established an environment for accepting various ethnicities and cultures. The diverse range of talent born from that creates a wealth of options in their football, making it easy for specialized talent to emerge for every single position, which, if you read into it, starts to sound a bit wild. However, it's Ego, so not a surprise. Anyway, Ego doesn't stop there, and trust me, he is far from stopping as he starts to go closer to Karasu, and says that he will give him credit for his quick-witted change in play. But the problem is his mentality. Ego tells him that from the middle of the first half, his plays looked as if he had given up on his own goal, asking Karasu what exactly he thinks that he is doing. Karasu is a bit hesitant, and has trouble saying it, but he explains that he thought that it would be better for the team. Ego then looks him right in his eyes with a creepy stare as he tells Karasu that he is pretty sure that he taught him that anyone who fights for the team is absolute trash, which is basically what Isagi tried to tell Karasu before, but he wasn't able to put it into words like Ego is. Anyway, Karasu can't do anything but just look shocked at Ego. Ego then starts to try an aura farm like crazy, as he says that what he means is that, in the first place, if every footballer fulfilled their aptitude in the right position for the right job, ultimately, it would result in nothing more than a contest of physical ability and tactics. The country of France has an environment well equipped to accept diverse ethnicities and cultures. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? The vast diversity of talent born there creates endless options in its football, making it easy for the right kind of talent to emerge for any given position. Now, if you thought that his yapping was over, then let me tell you that it has just begun, as he then says that if France creates a superior team by strictly selecting talent based on aptitude, is there any chance for Japan to win by doing the exact same thing? Without hesitation, he tells them all that the answer is no, saying that things like living according to your aptitude and being happy within your means. Everyone can be happy if they live according to their aptitudes. It is simply a theory used by the strong to paralyze the thinking of the weak and control their potential. Ego explains that they are the weak, and they cannot change the world by living according to their aptitude. And let me just come on here and say that Ego is absolutely cooking. Like, this guy is on fire right now, and I love it all. Ego then looks around the room at everyone and puts out his hand and tells them that this is precisely why he says everyone must be a striker, explaining that this philosophy that completely ignores aptitude is the heart of Blue Lock. He then points to his brain and tells them to imagine if they had 100 lives to live. How many times out of those 100 do they think that they could become the world's #1 striker? Ego tells them all right away that even if he were to estimate it as optimistically as possible and as miraculously high as possible, that number is nothing but 1 time. He starts to look manic and furious as he says something that never would have happened if they were living within their means, explaining that living for the sake of that one single chance is what it means to be an egoist, asking if he isn't right. As Ego said, we see the fire and aura around Isagi is starting to come back up, but then we have Karasu under him, and he speaks up and asks Ego something. He says that it's a fact that the way they are right now isn't working and is not effective, asking Ego if that isn't true. Ego then picks up his iPad and says that he is right, saying that if they are seeking something new, then first you must throw away something old. He then once again looks insane as he tells them that he is now discarding the tactics centered around Isagi, and he instead says that he will now announce the second half formation for their counterattack. And as he said that, we get a small panel of Isagi, Rin, Hiyori, and Karasu, all looking super determined towards Ego. After that, we move over to the U20 France national team locker room, where we see a bald man named Rodin, who is their coach. He speaks up and tells them all that they are the strongest generation, chosen by God, that only appears once every 100 years, which, honestly, that glaze is just insane. Like, come on, bro. Anyway, his gaze just continues as he looks at the team and says that not just the history of France, but also changing the history of football itself, exceptional talents are gathered here. He then starts to hit an aura pose, thinking that he is as cold as Ego is, as he tells them that now the Les Bleus are of a new era. Let's create history. After that, we see all of the no-name French players starting to scream out of excitement and happiness. Meanwhile, Hugo, Charles, and Loki are just chilling. After that, we see the French players starting to walk out, and Loki calls out to Charles. He tells Charles to stop playing around and to stay in his designated warm-up spot. Charles is just a bit surprised and caught off guard, so he just lets out a cat sound. We then get back to Loki, who looks visibly annoyed as he tells Charles that when they are done with the warm-up, the Earth will be grieving, alright. Charles then looks back at Loki and tells him that he is so greedy, but still, he starts to look excited and fired up as he tells Loki that he will serve up something real nasty for him, and this just screams that Loki will score with a Charles assist, which I'm so looking forward to. Just then, however, Hugo comes by and puts his arms around Loki and Charles, and I didn't realize how huge Hugo was before this panel, but he is so much taller, like it's insane. Anyway, he tells Loki that it's okay, explaining that this match probably isn't going to end just like this anyway. We then get a close-up panel to his eyes, as he says that it's going to get wild and that Blue Lock seems to have chosen that kind of fate. And he then points to the pitch, and with that, we see what he means as we spot SHIDOU, Barou, and Kunigami. All 3 of them are on the pitch and have gotten subbed in. SHIDOU is the first one to speak as he looks wild like always and tells them to let's go, and that every cell in his body is buzzing. Barou is just super cold as he kinda aura farms by saying that it's hunting time. Kunigami kind of looks dead sadly, but he calls someone drooling beasts, and I think that he is talking to SHIDOU and Barou. But that would be a bit weird, as he then says that they are about to be tamed, so I'm a bit unsure. But it doesn't really matter, as what matters is that all 3 of them are on the pitch. After that, we see the 3 that were benched, and we start off with, sadly, Bachira, who says that he is super exhausted, so it might have been a good thing that he was benched. We then have Chigiri, who says that he will leave the rest to Kunigami, and their friendship is just the best. But still, I'm super sad to see Chigiri benched since he is my favorite. Last but not least, it's Nico who is also benched, and he says that he is at his limit as well. After that, we get to Isagi, who is standing on the pitch with the ball in his hands. He looks around and says that a formation fully committed to destructive power, the system centered around him, has been dismantled. That's what they were aiming for. After that, Isagi looks towards Hugo and says that right there stands a human whose talent, dreams, and perspective are clearly on a whole different scale than his. The situation is pure, desperate adversity. He then closes his eyes and starts to wonder just why his excitement is accelerating so much, explaining that it's telling him to surpass Hugo. And this is what I'm talking about. And that's why Isagi is just the literal GOAT. However, he then ends it with a super cold line as he says that his ego is calling out, and we then see that his eyes are starting to burn up with fire. After that, the commentator speaks up saying that now it's kickoff for the second half. After that, the text says the more he's backed into a corner, the more Isagi's blood boils. His glittering fighting spirit clashes with destiny. Before ending it, I can announce that there will be no break next week, which is super insane. And also the next chapter will be called No Guard, which I'm not so sure of what it can mean. But if you know, then please let me know. Also, please let me know in the comments which part was your favorite in today's leaks. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel. And while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.